everybody. Welcome back. My name is Monique and welcome to Medora Budgets. I'd like to thank anybody who's liked or commented on any of my videos, and especially those that have chosen to subscribe to my channel. I truly started this as a way to hold myself accountable, but I understand, recognize, and appreciate the community as a whole. If you're rocking with me on this journey, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't made up your mind yet, sit with me for a spell. At the end of this video, if it's content you find valuable or enjoyable, please feel free to subscribe. It's myself and Sweets, married with a whole bunch of kids, trying to figure out our future family and finances so the decisions we're making now won't negatively impact us in the future. Today is Friday, May the 23rd. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's the end of the week and the last day. We are here to talk through YNAB. So I've been trying to incorporate YNAB into my life overall. And I want to talk through a couple of little struggles that I've had and a few things that I've done to account for that. So I'm going to talk to you for a little bit, and then I'm going to show you the YNAB as well. It's going to be a little bit lengthy as far as the time is concerned, longer than what I have been posting recently, but that's because I have a lot to cover. So first, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm in my handy dandy notebook, my iPad mini, and I've got 3 things that I just want to talk through and some things that I've come to realize. So the first thing is I got too many bank accounts. Just period. Let me just throw it out there. Okay. So I had a total of I'm going to include the Roth IRA and the Ally investment as well. So I've got a total of 10. I had Chase checking and savings. I had Newton Federal. It's a community bank, checking and savings. For Ally, I have a checking account. I have the high yield savings account. I have a Roth IRA, and I have an investment account as well. For the credit union, I have a checking and a saving. I just recently opened up a checking and a savings account with them as well. How many is that? So that's Chase, 1, 2, Newton Federal, 1, 2, Ally, 1, the checking savings, that's 6, the Roth IRA and the investment, that's 8, Brian, 8, and then credit union, checking and savings. So yes, 10. All right. So what have I done? Number 1, we're going to take the Roth IRA and the Ally investment out. So that's going to leave me at 8. I took out the Ally checking account. I've given that account over to my son. So he already gives me money. I've told him from a Zelle perspective the right contact information to use for me. And what he does is he sends it in there and it just stays in there. And then he has that money pooled to take care of bills, namely his car insurance and soon a car payment. Y'all, my son bought a car and he ain't had to ask me for no money. Winning. Hey. So I'm excited about that. But I've given him that account. So let's write that one out too. So that's 3 gone there. I need my Newton Federal checking and savings. That's my bills account. That's the checking. And the savings account is the one that I use to hold the money for split bills. So I do a split bill for my mortgage and for my auto. I save up enough money over time and then I pay it for whenever it's due. But that's my holding area or holding cell. So I still need to have that bills savings account as well. So Newton Federal, you're good. We kept you. Okay. All right. So that's Ally taking care of Newton Federal. Credit union is just for Sweets and I. We are starting to go down this path of doing the joint accounts. Plus, I wanted to establish a relationship with the credit union. So I still want to keep those in play because I think that's going to help me down the line. So we're going to keep those, but I do not have them linked here. Again, that's for Sweets and I and some things that we want to do separately. So I don't link them here because I'm not going to spend any money. Now left Chase checking and savings. So I got to keep the checking because that's where my variable expenses come out of. And then for savings, I didn't have a reason. I didn't have a reason to have the savings account, so I got rid of that one as well. I already called Chase. They've already closed it out. We sent over any money that was there. We send it over to our Chase checking, and we're good. So that was the first thing that I noticed. Too many banks, and that's been taken care of. The second thing is that I cannot give up what I am already doing in my current process. That is ingrained in me right now. Maybe it will be different later, but it is not different right now. I need to make sure that I keep that, because I can't abandon what I'm currently doing and just cold turkey switch to YNAB. That's just not going to work for me. So with that, I have created some filters as far as my spending plan is concerned, and we'll talk about that in a moment, so that I can help my brain with the idea that although YNAB takes all of the money and puts it together in one big chunk, Monique, you know that you are using the Newton Federal checking account for bills, and you're using your Chase checking account for variable expenses, and you can't forget that. Now, YNAB helps you to figure out what you want to do with your money, but it doesn't take the actions for you. You still have to take the action for yourself. So how do I keep it all straight in my mind so that it continues to make sense? Because I can't abandon what I'm doing now, because I still have to act on whatever I tell YNAB I want to do. And then the third thing, I don't trust YNAB yet. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not, but I'm just telling the truth. I just don't. They take all the money, put it together, and they just, pull it out. And I'm saying they, but Monique is putting the information in YNAB. YNAB is only as good as what I put in there. So maybe I don't trust me. I don't think I trust that YNAB is going to look at my finances yet the way that I would, or it knows me well enough to understand how my transactions always work. I don't want Amazon, for example, shouldn't always be a home supply. It's been a home supply order for the last 2 or 3 times I've ordered something for Amazon, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be a home supply order. Kroger is mostly for groceries, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be for groceries. Sometimes I go there and I get some medical, some OTC, over-the-counter meds, etc. So I just don't trust that it knows me intuitively yet. And one of the things they do talk about, I am watching the YNAB videos, one of the things they do talk about is sometimes YNAB will get a transaction grouping wrong, right? So it needs to take care of that. So my trust is, I have trust issues, apparently. And YNAB is experiencing some of those trust issues. So there you go. Those are the things right now that I am trying to work through. We're going to now get into the budget itself. And let's just talk through kind of some of the decisions I've made and some of the things I'm doing there to kind of help me through this process change. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see what we have here. So we are in YNAB. I am using my iPad Pro to show this. I know a lot of YNAB users use their laptops and then they just screen record from there. But I have struggles with that, with it connecting to the audio. For some reason, I haven't been able to work all of that out. So with that said, I am basically using my iPad Pro and I'm logging into the website and not downloading an app for this. Now, one of the things that I will tell you for YNAB that I realized is that actually I'll hold that for later. It's another conversation. So we're here to talk about what I just discussed around the 3 different things that I've been learning or working through. So the first one was around the accounts, and that I've gotten rid of my Ally checking account. I've gotten rid of my Chase savings account. So with that said, what we have connected here to YNAB is the Chase checking account, the Newton Federal checking and savings account, the Chase Freedom credit card, because that is the one that I'm working on as far as working through an amount that I know that will be there that I need to cover the cost for purchases made in May and probably or potentially in June as well. So that one is connected here as well, and my Ally high yield savings account as well. Now those are all linked, and any money that is deposited into those show up as ready assigned amounts that I should be able to then assign what category or how I want to spend it. They do also track my Roth IRA that I have with Ally, as well as the investment account that I have with Ally, but it is listed just for tracking, meaning it is not any monies that I deposit there. I'm able to see it and I'm able to track how I'm doing with depositing or taking out of those accounts, but it is not any money that goes there is not included in my ready to assign. The second thing I talked about was the fact that I still want to do what I currently do, and I gotta just incorporate YNAB, but not disregard or discard anything that I've done up until now. Plus, that I'm having some trust issues with YNAB as well, just until I get myself acclimated and really understand it. Maybe, you know, things will change. So what I've decided to do is to add some filters to help with that. So what you see here up at the top are account or filters that are already associated with the view that you're looking at here. So this is my spending plan. All of these are my groupings that I have, and within the groupings I have the categories. So for example, one of them says why I gotta work, and that is a group that I have specifically for any of the bills account or bills that I have to worry about paying. That includes the mortgage, that includes electricity, gas, my auto loan, as well as any subscriptions that I have that are paid monthly also. So all of those are listed under, for example, why I gotta work. So why I gotta work will be my category group. All of these that are listed here are the categories associated with that group. I'm gonna go ahead and collapse that again. All right, so YNAB comes with 4 specific filters already set: underfunded, overfunded, money available, and snoozed. And so if I ever wanted to see how many accounts are underfunded, which means I set a target for it, but the amount that's showing there as available is less than what I said or targeted to put into that particular category. The same for overfunded, is just the other way. So these are items where I gave a specific amount, but I also potentially deposited more into that or assign more money than supposed to be there. So I'm going to go under why I gotta work and just give you an example. So garbage is fully funded, right? So here you see $60. That's a sign. I don't know that it'll show me any numbers here. No, when I'm looking at the laptop version, what'll happen is it will say, hey, for garbage, there we go. So you'll notice here when I click on it, it's saying I wanted to set aside $57, but what I set aside so far is $60. So I've met my target, but it's also showing under the filtered overfund as well, because I have more money in there than I targeted to put. All right, so that is how that would work. So those are automatic. We can't change those. They're set: underfunded, overfunded, money available, and snoozed. But what I did do is go in and add some around the way that I pay my bills or I save my money. I have a high yield savings account, and that's where all of my sinking funds are handled through. And most of those sinking funds, when you click on HYSA, sorry, these are all of the different sinking fund categories that I have, and all of the categories you see here listed, if I blow these out, are ones, so I go to family business, all of these are ones that I actually have buckets for within the Ally HYSA account. So you've seen these before: bonus kids, Corinne, Being Just Stuff, his 2025 savings challenge, family fun, gifts, date night, Christmas, the November birthday, etc. All of those, if you have spent any time with my channel, then you've seen all of those before. Those are buckets that I have with Ally, and so now I have a filter so that I can always look at those separately if I needed to. Newton Federal, that's the account that I handle my bills and my consumer debt from. And so anything under why I gotta work or anything under just annoying are the consumer, that's the consumer debt that I have overall: City, Kohl's, Green Sky, Rooms to Go, Nelnet. You guys are used to seeing those. And so why did I set it up this way? Well, if I want to look at my bills account right now and I say, how much money do I have in my bills account? I can go over to Newton Federal and I can look at that, and then I can come here and look in YNAB, go under the Newton Federal filter, and it shows me I have $243.43 set aside in my bills account to handle bills. I have $6.25 set aside under just annoying for right now, which means a lot of my credit card bills have already been paid. This is probably what's left over. But in essence, if you add those two numbers together, you'll end up with about $250. This means I should have at least $250 in my Newton Federal Bills account, because I've assigned money to those in YNAB that I haven't spent yet. So that's how I reconcile my numbers together. These filters are helping me to feel a little bit more comfortable to what I'm seeing in YNAB compared to how I am currently handling my bills and how I am used to seeing my money allocated. When we go to Chase, you'll notice here I've got 3 different categories. I'm going to skip the credit card payment, but I'm going to go to day-to-day. And what had happened was, so day-to-day are my standard variable expenses: groceries, gas, home supplies, over-the-counter medicine, dining out. What had happened is my personal spend money, my me money, for the money that I might set aside for coffee, for entertainment, etc. So when you add those two numbers together, $303.76 and $38.30. So I'm not sure if I said it before, but I'll say it again. All of the money that I have available here rolls up into a total amount here. That's why I like the collapsed view, because I can see there's a total of $303 I have allocated. I can open up the view over here to determine if I want to see exactly what category is listed in. But if you add the 303 and the 38 together, so that's what, 341, 345. So there should be at least $345 in my Chase variable account to account for the money that I said I have and that I've assigned in these different categories. Now, credit card is a little bit different, because you'll notice under day-to-day, all of these show as available. But for credit card, and remember I'm just doing the Chase Freedom card, it shows as payment. So what happens in YNAB is the minute you take money or you spend money and that transaction is logged, whether that transaction is logged manually, which means you went in and added the transaction yourself, or whether or not it's linked, which means as it's looking at my Chase Freedom card, since that card is linked to YNAB, it registers any new transactions and they load here. Once that category is determined, how I spent that money is immediately moved from this category, the individual category it was assigned to, and it puts it up here to Chase Freedom as a payment. And it's saying, since the last time you paid Chase Freedom, you've spent $61.72 on that Chase Freedom card, and you need to have at least $61.72 to put towards a payment for Chase Freedom so that you are not creating any new debt. So the way that would look, say for groceries, I go to Kroger and I spend $50. What you would then see is I would add a manual transaction for that Kroger $50. And they would say, well, what is Kroger for? It's for groceries. After you've made so many selections for a vendor, it automatically will then pre-populate. At this point, I get a lot of my groceries from Kroger. So I would type in the word Kroger, and the minute I hit enter on that, it would list as the category transaction groceries, because that's what it's used to seeing. But it would say, okay, we'll take that $50 away. It's going to remove that $50 from here. And then it would say that I have available $101.43. It's going to add that $50 here as a negative, because it's saying, hey, she spent another $50. So now the activity is actually negative $420. I've spent a total of $420 in the month of May for groceries. There, I have $101 available left yet still to spend. And then it would take that $50 and also add it up here. And then it would say $111.72 here. So it's basically saying, hey, I'm going to take that $50 from groceries. I'm going to stick it up here. And when you get ready to make your Chase Freedom credit card payment, say you were going to do that today, you should be making it for $111.72. Now, YNAB tracks your money, but it does not act on your money. So when I say that we're going to make a payment, it actually means YNAB is going to register it as a payment, but I still have to go in and physically move that money and make a payment on the credit card. So these categories or filters up here, HYSA, Newton Federal, and Chase, is how I am going to track my accounts in a way that makes sense for me. I may not always have to have these. Eventually, I may feel comfortable in just dumping all of my money into Ready Assign and then dispersing it from there. But for right now, that's not where I am in my journey. I do believe that come the check that I'm supposed to get on May the 30th, I feel like I'm going to be comfortable enough to actually show you guys that progress or that process and how it looks. So let that money come into Ready Assign, and then I'll go ahead and start to disperse it from there. But for right now, these are the changes that I've made just on what I've recognized so far about myself and working through YNAB. I've gotten rid of some accounts that I feel like I don't need anymore. I still need to handle my current process within this YNAB piece as well. So that's why I created these filters. And I'm not trusting that YNAB just yet understands me the way that it needs to understand me. But over time, I'm sure that that is going to get better. Okay, that is it. Thanks everybody for your time. You guys have a good one.